Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Jessica Henry and today I have a really fun project. We are going to step away from how to paint landscape, still life, or whatever. Today we are going to focus entirely on mixing colors. So what I have done is I've cut out swatches out of magazines of different colors that we are going to mix on this palette with a very limited palette selection of colors. And remember, if you enjoy this video, to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get going. Okay, so on my palette here today, I have my basic colors: titanium white, cadmium yellow medium. I put out some cadmium red light, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, phthalo green, and alizarin crimson. I have a special color too. I'm going to play with a little bit, phthalo turquoise by Winsor Newton. So what I have done here is I have taken pictures from magazines and cut them out to use as examples of different colors that I'm going to try to mix today. This is a great exercise for you to do at home if you want to just practice getting better at mixing colors. So we're going to start out. I've got a bunch of them up here, and I'm just going to take a few down here one at a time and show you how to mix certain colors. So let's start with white. I have a white pumpkin here, and I want to show you different how to get different colors of this range on here. So this is just a pumpkin, and we're going to obviously start out with white. And we're going to we want to try to match the lightest light on this pumpkin. So let's try a little bit of yellow ochre into that. So you can take that color and put it right on the pumpkin. If it needs to be a little bit lighter, add a little more white. Let's try it over here. That looks pretty good. Okay, so let's move down into the shadow a little bit. Taking a little bit of burnt sienna and a little bit of ultramarine blue. I love those two colors to get a really nice gray. So let's see how close that matches. Okay. It's still a little dark for that passage. So we'll add a little bit of white into this mixture. And you notice I never mix my paints like pancake batter. I paint the colors together. And in doing that, you have a little bit better feel of the paint itself. Let's see, that's pretty close to that. And another thing I don't do is color charts. They're great if you want to, but my mode of thinking, and the reason I don't, is because this is how we paint. I don't paint in color charts. We paint in how to observe from nature. And so if you want to get better at that, this is a very great systematic way of studying colors. And you can just throw these magazine clippings away after you've got them full of paint. So that's a little bit of yellow ochre in that to warm that shadow. A little more ochre towards the bottom. So this is how you can get different shades of white. Oh, that's too light. A little blue and brown. Okay, so you get the idea with that one. We're going to take a little bit of cadmium yellow, a little bit of cadmium red light, that's medium and light, and we'll paint those two colors together. Is there anywhere on this pumpkin that it is that bright? Well, pretty close. Let's tone it down with a little bit of white. That looks good. We can even add a little bit of yellow ochre to this orange mixture. Remember, the red is very powerful, so if you get too much, you'll have to neutralize it or tone it down. Okay. And sometimes you might have the color on your brush and see that, well, it's not exactly where you put that, but it fits maybe over there or elsewhere. So you can see where else you might need it. So let's take a little bit more of that yellow ochre and the red with some white and see if we come closer to some of these other oranges. Yeah. Let's see if we can get this soft, bright, light orange up here. A little bit of cadmium red. Right into the, or yellow into the red. Get a little bit more of the white. Let's see, are we getting close to that? Sure. Maybe a little bit of white now into that, and we'll get closer to the top of the pumpkin. Okay, whoops. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how to make some beautiful oranges. Here, let's take some alizarin crimson and mix it with some cad yellow. Let's see what we get with that. Maybe a little more. Oh, that's a really rich orange. Yeah, that's closer to that. So as this pumpkin is curling down into the shadows, use a little bit more alizarin crimson for that effect. So let's take some of this cadmium red light and mix it with a little bit of alizarin crimson. Let's see, where might we see this? Right in there. If you don't see your brush stroke, then chances are you got the color just right. Let's go a little darker into the shadows here. And that is alizarin crimson. You can use alizarin permanent too. Let's go a brighter red and see what happens if we go with cadmium red. Add a touch of white. Yeah. Okay, well that works for that one. This is a picture of some beets, and I thought this had a nice spectrum of reds. So let's go with a little bit of white. Get this middle beet right here. And maybe add a little bit more cad red and alizarin to get this pink tone with some of that white. Yeah, that matches that. How about that really dark red? Let's grab some alizarin crimson. I'm gonna clean my brush off. And how about some if you have any white in your brush at all, you're not going to be able to get your darks as dark as they need to be. So clean your brush off and let's go into some ultramarine blue and some burnt sienna. And we'll make that really dark red. More alizarin than the dark. Yeah, that works. We can add a little bit of white to that mixture to see what color it is. Oh, I see that color. It's this beet back here. Okay, so what about that transparent beet right there? Cadmium red. Let's find it the dark part down here. And then as it goes up, where you want something to appear transparent, make sure that there isn't any dark like that in it. Grab your cadmium yellow. Cadmiums will really help you to get the look of transparency. I've done a few videos on that. So let's just add that little bit of yellow there. Okay, that works. These two different pictures here of these yellow items, a yellow flower and this woman's shirt. And I wanted to just show mixing these colors with what I have here. So let's start with the shirt here. So cadmium yellow. A little bit of white. Let's see, is that's pretty close to right there. Let's add a little yellow ochre for the darker yellow in the shadows, right into that. Okay. The more you practice at mixing colors, the faster you'll get at it. And you'll make those choices. I put a little tiny bit of cadmium red in that. You'll also sort of teach your hand how to work the brush into dipping it into the paint. The whole business of 1 part, 2 part this and 1 part that, it's kind of difficult to understand, especially as you are in the field working. I try to teach in a way that makes sense to our minds and how our minds work. Okay, so let's go with this more lemon color with cadmium yellow. Let's get some clean white. I don't want any hints of orange in there. You can even add the smallest touch of phthalo green. And then you carefully paint those colors together to see what you can get. So that, nope, not even close. Let's keep going. That's getting better. It would help to have lemon yellow if you were going to paint something this decidedly of that hue, but we're trying to get close here with the limited palette. Let's get down into the middle of that flower. Some yellow ochre, ultramarine blue. Still have that green family, but that's not. That's getting better. Right down there, that's exactly that color. A little bit down there. Okay, maybe a little bit darker in the middle of the flower. And under the flower, what's this? Okay, so that helps with that. So this is the pear, and we're going to take some cadmium yellow, a little more of that, and a little bit of ultramarine blue. Okay, where is that color on here? That's about right in the middle. So as we move towards the light, let's get a little more yellow and white. Nope. Let's try a touch of phthalo green just to see what it does. That's pretty close. Let's get some more yellow in there. Okay, that is a little bit more blue in with that yellow, cad yellow. It gives us a little darker green. And so as we move into the shadow, green to darken green, you use its complement, which would be red. So as you've noticed, I'm neutralizing colors with complements. Neutralizing means to take it down a little bit into a little bit more earth tone color. So yellow and blue will just make a nice green. And now I'm going to grab some of that alizarin crimson and paint that in there. And see how that turned it a little bit more olive green? Neutralizing it. Let's grab a little bit more blue. And then you have that nice dark pear green in there. Okay. I still don't feel that I have that bright pear green, so let's get that. Cadmium yellow, a little bit of blue, and some white. Okay. Just take some of this white and yellow right into that green. Ah. All right. Okay, so helps with that. Now here I'm going to put out a little bit of this phthalo turquoise, and we'll see what that can do. Next week, I will be in Destin, Florida, teaching a workshop, and so this is very timely to get this turquoise color for the water. So let's start with the sky, and normally I take ultramarine blue and white, and I might add a touch of phthalo green to that. Get that color of the sky just right. A little darker. There, that is that color of that sky. Okay, some of this water down here. Let's grab some phthalo turquoise. I'll put a little white in with that so you can see what color it is. Oh, that is beautiful. That looks like it's almost, yeah, that is the sky color up there. That's lovely. Okay, so we'll add a little bit more white to that. And how about some yellow? And that is that turquoise color in the water right there. A little bit of white. Let's add some white up here. Okay, that works for that one. Let's try this beautiful blue sky, because we do paint skies an awful lot. So we're going to add ultramarine blue to white and just paint those colors together. Is that, where are we on there? That's about the middle. Okay, a little bit more ultramarine blue to that. Yeah, there's our sky color right there. Ultramarine blue is one of my favorite blues. Let's go down the sky a little bit more white. There we go. And I found that these eyeshadow palettes out of magazines to be a pretty good source for color swatches. So let's see what we can come up with this. So we've got ultramarine blue. We'll make this dark midnight blue here. How about a little burnt sienna, but more blue than brown? Yeah, that's that. How about that color right there? Let's get that. But we're going to grab a little bit of brown to neutralize the green, because the brown is in the red family. So that is some of that ultramarine blue and phthalo green that we had mixed up, and some white. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, so now some purples. So let's try to get some of those. Alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, and paint those together. If you're not sure what colors you have going on there, grab a little white. And that is, grab a little bit of yellow ochre. Oh, that's really close to this right here in the water. A little more blue as we go up the spectrum here. And now a lot more blue in the water there. Okay, let's get that violet color there. Alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue. Now there are some purples and magentas in nature that you just can't get with this palette. You'd have to have, magenta or whatever. But we do the best we can. the payoff for not having to carry heavy equipment when you're out in the field working is great. You don't want to have to carry a bunch of paints if you don't want to. And if you can practice your mixing and get really close to the color you're trying to get at, then that's all you need. Okay, so that was a little bit of cadmium red with some alizarin and some white. Trying to come close to this magenta. I got some white in there. Right there. Let's try to get that pink color in the sky. We'll just add a little white and yellow ochre. To that. A little more yellow ochre. But you can see by just taking small little dabs of paint, you don't need to mix up a whole lot, just a little bit. A little bit more white and ochre. And that gives you that. And the same can be said about this beautiful orchids over here. Alizarin crimson. And then moving towards the light. Now in this case, you probably would want magenta for these, but you get the idea. A little bit more alizarin. So I have a pile of different skin tones here, different faces. Got some, I don't know that we'll use that one. More olive skin tones, beautiful copper skin tones. I liked this one for the different shades in there. You can also take little swatches like this from magazines and just go down the line and just practice mixing these colors right on your palette. So let's start out. I have just a basic recipe that I go from, and from here I branch out into all different other races of skin tones. So I'll take a white, yellow ochre, and alizarin crimson. Okay, so just mix those together. Not in equal proportions, just little bits here and there. We have an awful lot of alizarin crimson making its presence known. Okay, so let's try this. Where are we on this? Okay, maybe a little bit more white. That. So I'm just getting the highlights on her face first. And then as it goes down the face, you could take a little bit of burnt sienna into that mixture. A little bit more alizarin for the apple of the cheek. And then let's just tone that down. Oops, I got there. With a little blue. And that will cool it and quiet it a little bit as the face recedes. Little bit of blue to that. And even up in here, there's some of that color. So where else do we see that? Tip of the nose, under the jawline. So you can just play with some of these and see what you get by experimenting with different colors. Let's see what we get with this one. Yeah, that's pretty much that color in there. which was white, yellow ochre, a little bit of alizarin, and some blue to tone it down a little bit. Okay, so let's go a little bit darker over here. So we've got burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, and a little bit of alizarin. So those two, the blue and brown, gives you sort of a gray, and then by adding a little bit of alizarin, it brings it back to sort of a rosy gray. Let's go a little bit warmer with that. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna into that mixture. Yeah, that's better. That's too light for that part, but okay, so let's make that a little darker. There, that's better. I'll tone that one down. Okay, and then the darkness of the flesh and the shadow. Ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Maybe just a touch of alizarin. Yeah. Okay, that works for that. All right, let's work on this very olive skin tone arm. So we'll take some more of the yellow ochre, touch of alizarin. Maybe that color is more down here. Okay, so we go up towards the light. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow ochre to the white. Got just a little highlight right here. That works. Okay. All right, let's get this beautiful copper skin tone. Now for this, we're just going to grab a little bit more burnt sienna, yellow ochre, let's grab a little more cadmium yellow and some white into this mixture. On her chin. Okay, so we'll go back to her forehead. I wanted to get that a little better. And then we're going to add more blue to the sides of her head where the shadows recede. Like that. And where else is this color? A little bit there. A little bit on her neck. A little more burnt sienna as we move. Oops. Let's get some cadmium red light in there to warm it up. That's better. Okay, so that helps with that, I think. Let's get the rosiness in her cheeks. I'm going to grab some cadmium red and a little bit of alizarin together. We'll get that really dark shadow on the side. Burnt sienna, ultramarine blue. That's too dark. I didn't have those mixed up well enough. Under her chin. And that's probably about her eyebrow shade too. Right. Okay, so that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it and find this helpful. And again, just cut out some clips, magazine clips, lay them on your palette and just experiment with it. It's a relaxing activity and it helps you get better and more fluent in your understanding of how to mix colors, neutralize colors, pull out brighter lights, cooler, warmer, and all of that. So go ahead and practice this, and I hope you guys have a great week. All right, bye-bye.